Hi, I'm Shilpa.
Hi, I'm Melanie.
And today we're talking about eating problems. Can you talk about some of the eating disorders and problems that you're aware of?
Anorexia nervosa, I'd heard of bulimia, but everything else aside from that I wasn't aware of until I kind of started experiencing things such as binge eating and orthorexia.
Could you explain some of those?
What I know of anorexia is usually people will restrict their food intake and they will view themselves as a lot bigger maybe than they actually are. Bulimia is when people will force themselves to get rid of calories to lose weight. So this can be done through forcing yourself to vomit. And some people do this through taking laxatives, or they can even do excessive exercise as well. When I started binge eating and when I found out eventually what that was that I would kind of just eat healthy enough for a few days and then I would gorge. I would just be trying to fill a hole with food, and it was like a bottomless pit. I started developing orthorexia. It's associated with an obsession with only consuming pure foods and not wanting anything impure. I went through a phase of only eating one ingredient foods, and I would cut out entire food groups. It wasn't that I was just following a healthy lifestyle plan, I was obsessed with it.
Was there a point where you thought, okay, now this is becoming unhealthy or it's kind of taking over my life?
I noticed it was not normal when other people started pointing it out to me and when it was interrupting my social life. Even like we would go shopping for food and it would be such an ordeal for me. I often used to think that my eating disorders were coming from an urge to be thin, but then when I really, through counselling and through therapy, that a lot of the emotional eating came after a very traumatic time in my teenage years. I think knowing I could control what went in and out of my mouth gave me this feeling of like, oh, I'm accomplishing something with my day, and so I lived for that.
At the time, did you feel like you knew what those triggers were?
I definitely didn't think that things going on in my life were making me turn to food or turn away from food at the time. It never did actually make me feel better. It just, in the moment, it would. Even if you are having a bad relationship with food, it doesn't hurt to go and talk to someone to make sure you can at least then rule out eating disorders, and then you know, okay, well, I just have to work on things.
So if someone does have an unhealthy relationship with food, there are some things that you can do.
Definitely the first thing is coming out about it to yourself and accepting it yourself, and then going to someone else to talk to about it. And that can be really scary for a lot of people, but you don't have to just only tell your mother or your father. Maybe you don't have a good relationship with them. You can go to a Childline counsellor, you can go to a friend. In your school, they may have counsellors there and kind of people to help. Once you do start talking about it, then you'll start identifying the triggers, what's causing it, and you can then get educated about what is a healthy way to eat.
Do you think there's a sense of fear about what the reaction might be?
With a lot of things like this, there's a stigma around it, and a lot of older people do accuse younger people of jumping on bandwagons nowadays, and it's only because we're being more open about our problems and our mental health, and I think that's a brilliant thing, and I don't think anyone should ever hold stuff in for fear of judgment or what other people are going to say.
There can also be some quite negative things on the internet as well.
All these awful hashtags. It's very difficult to know who is a good role model. I think that anyone that's kind of encouraging you to stay in the pattern of disordered thinking and eating, you need to know that that's not healthy and it's not good. I'm drawn to people who promote balance and promote just loving yourself through your whole journey and stuff like that.
So self-acceptance and building self-esteem.
I personally feel like you need to focus on your mental health first, and then you can find it a lot easier to fix any health problems that you have.
When you were looking for help and support, was it easy to find?
My first thing that I had to do was just to go to a regular doctor, and I didn't think a doctor would be able to do anything, because obviously it's not something you can just take a tablet and it gets rid of your problems. It's important to go to the doctor because they have access to all the other services that are available, and they can refer you on to the right people. It shouldn't be scary, and if you're afraid of it, don't worry about it, because it's very common nowadays and they've heard a million times worse than what you're going to go in and say to them.
It's really important to remember only a medical professional can diagnose you with an eating disorder and also provide treatment too.
Not Google.
I wondered if you had any tips about how you can maybe support a friend if you thought that they were having an eating problem.
Some of my friends, and they've admitted to this since, that they didn't handle it in the best way at the time. Comment on my body or comment on my figure or what I was eating and kind of make fun of how little or how much it was. I knew my friends did care about me, but they just didn't realise that, you know, I wasn't looking for them to try and make me eat more or make me eat less. If it is your friend, don't try and force them or have a say in what they're doing. Just be really supportive and understanding and listen to them. If you notice that someone is just never eating with you or is making up reasons to avoid social situations, maybe just ask them very nicely, you know, is everything okay? Or very gentle kind of prying can help someone to open up.
Just listening can be really helpful.
I think just
not judging.
It's hard to do. It can be hard to do when you don't understand. But hopefully anyone watching this, if they're going through this, they'll know from now on.
And if you are struggling or thinking about eating disorders or eating problems, there is more information on the Childline website. Thanks so much, Melanie.
Thank you.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.